My name is Amy Morel-Dijon. I am the internship advisor and the director of experiential education in the Washington semester program. Hold on to your Zoom screen. Terrell asked me to tell you how our students land internships in less than 5 minutes. This presentation sometimes takes about 4 months of advising and coaching. So since you guys are educators here, I know that you're quick learners, so I'm going to go through this very quickly. And I'm going to give you an overview of how our high touch and high tech support systems help every student land in effective internship placements. It all starts with advising. I work with students a lot one-on-one, pre-arrival, and we begin with a resume and cover letter. My colleagues and I fashion those resumes and cover letters so they're DC ready. And once the documents are approved, they go into a live resume book for employers to see. We cultivate contacts with about 4,000 employers that are always looking for students, and we show students the newest, hottest internships available. Students search, apply, attend the internship fair once classes start, interview, and then 2 weeks into the semester, fall and spring, everybody lands in their placement. In summer, they land before they arrive in UC. All of our students are gaining their career skills as they're doing this searching and they're learning. We have a framework from NACE. There's a web link here that shows you how we're going into detail on the competencies to help students get prepared for their careers. At every stage, from the time they're placed to midterm and end of semester, we're helping students develop all of the skills that they need for the workforce. And in sum, I would say when it comes to what we're looking for in the search process is engagement. As I wrap up this nutshell on how students land, I love to work with students early. So that's the final word on landing. Have this proverb in mind that this Chinese proverb says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. That rule applies for internship learning. We would love for your students to apply soon, and then we'll get started on the search. As soon as they deposit, we start rolling our sleeves up. Now, for an example of what students are actually learning, I'm honored to have now with us in a panel. We have one of our students, Loyal Terry, and then we also have Davi Cohen, a staff assistant for Adam Schiff. And Davi is the supervisor supporting Loyal, who is from Grinnell College. And I'm now gonna turn it over to my intern and our supervisor here. I'm gonna kick it off with a question. I'm gonna start with you, Davi, as the supervisor, who is our on-site educator, as Jeff Sosland likes to call our supervisors in his research. I would like for you to tell us how you're teaching Davi, how you're teaching Loyal professional skills. So kicking it over to you, Davi.
Yeah, and thanks so much for having me here. As you can see, we're in the office, so we're wearing masks, but please let me know if the audio is having any difficulties at any point. But I am super excited to talk about our intern program. Loyal has been with us since beginning of January. And from the very start, some of the things that we try to incorporate into our intern program here in Congressman Schiff's office is some key professional development opportunities. And so that is both very structured in the sessions that I put together for our interns. We have a resume and cover letter workshop at the beginning, towards the beginning of their cohort. And we also, talk through applying to Hill positions if that's something they're interested in. But then more informally, we organize hot seats, as we like to call them, with members of our staff, in which every member of the team sits down with the interns for an hour once a week. We have a different member of the staff come talk to them, and it's really an opportunity for the interns to come in with any and all questions they have. The staff come in with about 1 minute, 2 minute spiel of their background in the office and what they did before coming to the office. And then it's up to the to fill the rest of the time with any questions they have. So, our interns like Loyal come up with questions maybe about their background on the campaign side, if that's something they have experience in, or what they were doing, what their current role in the office looks like, if they're working in comms or scheduling or anything like that. But that's more of an informal time for them to gather professional experience and advice as well.
Loyal, you're up. What are you learning in your internship?
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Real quick, just want to shout out Alicia Stanley, who's here with Grinnell College for helping me get into this program, Adam Schiff's office, and the staff here at AU. But to answer the question, honestly, it's been a great experience, and I've been able to learn how to network, work in a professional team and environment. That balance of, making sure that you're accountable to your work while still having a great relationship with your coworkers and fellow interns. As you can see, one of our fellow interns, Vahog, is in the background from CSUN. And that's really important and hard to do and hard to navigate without having that experience, because a class setting is very unique to that of a business environment where you come in, on your best behavior, but then also establishing, strong relationships with each of your coworkers, something that I've been able to do. And to also have a much more independent status while I've been out here in DC. For the most part, my mornings are free or tied to work. And that's been very important for me. I pay my own bills. If it's up to me to go and get my food and figure and navigate all of that. So it's been I would say definitely an inch of what it would be like once I left the undergraduate space, which I've definitely enjoyed in my time here.
Thank you so much. So back to you, Davi. I'd like to hear from you first, and then after that, Loyal, a sample highlight project or activity that kind of represents the internship, that gives a sense to our faculty and staff listening here of how internships work in Washington semester.
Yeah, I can kind of run through a in the life of an intern in our office. And I'll say that this is, a lot of these are general across the board, kind of, but what an intern is going to be doing in a DC office, but some of them are more specific to our office. So for example, they'll come in or log on virtually. We're in a hybrid status right now, starting to come into the office a little bit more, but they start the day with going through constituent correspondence. Interns are integral to our constituent correspondence program. They're the first eyes on any message that we receive from the district or from non-constituents. So they go through all of our voicemails. They're answering phones when we're in the office, and they go through any internet mail that we might get, or people who fill out the forms on the website, and make sure that all of those end up in the right place for me to send out responses to later on in the week. So that's really important. They also help out with the drafting co-sponsor memos for the legislative staff. So, if there's a bill that someone on the staff is interested in signing the congressman onto, the interns are responsible for drafting that memo to the congressman to ask if he wants to sign on to the bill. So that's across the board pretty, a lot of offices will do that with their interns, some may not. But then, I like to pride our staff really takes advantage of our interns in the legislative space, as well as in the communication space. So, we trust our interns with going through the daily clips and formatting those for the congressman to see at the end of every day. They also, have the opportunity to do more specific legislative research in areas that they're passionate about, or in areas that just come up that the office needs some extra hands on. So, I just introduced a policy project for all of our interns to choose an area that they are specifically most interested in working on and really dig deeper into that. So there'll be putting together a one-pager for our staff, and then also choosing a piece of legislation that they think is important for the congressman to be on and drafting their own co-sponsor memo for the congressman to see with that regard.
Thank you. And Loyal, now give us an example from your experience, what it's looked like to be behind the intern desk managing projects.
Yes, all of the things that Dobby has highlighted right before me are, I think, each equally important and integral to my intern experience. But one project that is, I guess, would really define how much I've enjoyed my time here was the work that I did in attending a briefing on the Martha Wright Prison Phone Justice Act, hosted by Congressman Bobby Rush, and how that tied very clearly with the work that I'm doing here in the program, as I'm in a mass incarceration course here hosted by WSP, and being able to see examples of systematic injustice that we've either shed a blind eye to or have been deliberately a part of, as not our rep in particular, but others have, and upcharging the costs of phones and families being able to keep in contact with their incarcerated family members is one, a humanitarian issue, but one that also was against recidivism, or the rates at which people or previously incarcerated people would come back to prison. And being able to attend a briefing like that, and to also produce a briefing memo for one of our legislative staffers, was an amazing experience to be able to see the work that other people on the Hill were doing and how we were able to interpret it, and be a co-sponsor on something that was very tied to home for me, as I've had family members that have been previously incarcerated, but then also being able to see my work go past what you may hear about on a day-to-day life of other interns. I can't speak for every office, but what I can speak to ours is this has been a great experience, and it's nice to be able to see your work go somewhere.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to Lyle and to Dobby for allowing us an insider view in really what is the central nervous system of our government, and telling your stories and sharing that with us.